Hey everyone, welcome to the Arm Coach Podcast, episode 62. We're going to talk about what happens when you go searching for the perfect plan to tone your arms, the newest workout, the cleanest eating plan, the fastest hack. You know the drill. We're going to unpack the words that sneak into your mindset and quietly hold you back. And I'll teach you exactly what they are. We'll also talk about why you might be kind of side-eyeing the basics, why they feel too simple, and why you might find yourself rebelling against the very things that actually work. We're definitely going to get into the flip side, the words and thoughts that move you forward, that unlock consistency, that help you become the woman who follows through, not perfectly, but powerfully. Last week, I gave a live talk and we broke down this idea of searching for the magic formula. You know, that one perfect solution that's finally going to give you sculpted arms without the struggle. I hear it all the time. I don't have time to follow a complicated plan. I just need something that works. What I shared with them was this: the solution isn't out there, it's right in front of you. It's always been the same three things: how you move, how you think, how you treat yourself. If you're anything like my clients, you might be thinking, okay, I'm doing those. I try to stick to them. But seriously, what else? What's the next step? It's so common. We think it can't be this simple. So we keep searching. But that search, it creates this sneaky kind of stress. And that stress, it keeps you stuck. It keeps you second guessing yourself. It convinces you to start over again. Today, we're going to stop that cycle. We're going to zoom in on the patterns of always looking outside of yourself for the next best thing. And we're going to do something different. Let's talk about the four little words that quietly wreck your progress. Are you ready? I already know this. Have you ever caught yourself thinking that? Be honest, because last week during that presentation I gave, I could feel the energy shift when I started talking about the basics, the foundational stuff, the stuff that actually works. And I knew it was coming. Yeah, I've heard this before. I even got a few emails afterward that basically said it out loud. Christine, I already know this. What else do you have? What's new? What's next? Let me show you why that thought, I already know this, is such a trap. When your brain hears that phrase, your higher brain, the part of you that chooses intentionally, that plans ahead and follows through, it checks out. It goes quiet, like, oh, cool. I don't need to learn anything here. Let's just coast. Who takes over? Your autopilot brain, the part that repeats what's easy, what's familiar, the part that doesn't challenge you to stay the course. Even though saying, I already know this, might sound kind of powerful, like I'm smart, I've done this before. In reality, it's the fast track to checking out and falling back into old patterns. That mindset leads straight to resignation, to frustration, to going back to Amazon and buying another resistance band set or scrolling through another influencer's 5-minute arm fix. But the real fix, the actual solution, it's right in front of you. It's simple, but it's not automatic yet. See, the results you want, stronger arms, more muscle tone, better definition, those don't come from dabbling. They come from repetition, from showing up even when it feels boring, from choosing to stay when your brain wants to go chase something shinier. If you're constantly searching for something better, you never give your brain a chance to settle in and make the basics your new formula. Here's the truth. If you want sculpted arms, you've got to stop practicing the search and start practicing the solution. Because whatever you practice, you get better at. Let's break this down even more. If your goal is to sculpt and tone your arms, but your thought is, ugh, I already know this, you've got to remember your thoughts create your feelings. That thought doesn't energize you. It doesn't inspire consistency or commitment. What it does create is resignation, apathy, that low-key hopeless feeling like this just isn't working. When you feel that way, you act accordingly. You keep scrolling, keep bouncing from one strategy to the next, keep tweaking the plan instead of following the plan. And the result, you never get the definition you want. Not because you aren't capable, but because you never gave one approach the time and space it needed to work for you. Here's what I want you to try instead. Practice something that's going to feel a little weird. Stop searching. Yep, don't go looking for the next shiny solution this week. Don't try to outsmart the basics. Don't convince yourself you need something fancier or more exciting. Because the real problem, it's not that you need a new plan. It's that you haven't stuck with any plan long enough for it to become second nature. And why do we do that? Why do we keep restarting? Habit. It's just an old groove in your brain. If you're thinking this feels too simple, that thought is going to stir up a restless, itchy feeling inside you. Like there has to be something more, something better, something next. But when you act from that energy, what do? You start searching again, and you stay stuck in a loop of dabbling, never committing long enough to get the strength, the tone, and visible progress you actually want. Results don't come from searching. They come from sticking, from showing up, doing the work, and giving your brain time to rewire itself for consistency. That's the game. Let's talk about why the basics work, because I know they're not glamorous. They're not flashy. They're not the next big thing trending on TikTok, but they work. And here's why. The basics teach you how to show up consistently. They teach you how to move your body in a way that builds strength and trust. They teach you how to stop quitting on yourself just because it's taking longer than you thought. They also help you know when to push and when to rest without guilt. And that's everything when it comes to toning your arms. The basics also reveal your thought patterns, why you skip workouts, why you grab the snack instead of stretching, why you talk yourself out of being someone who follows through. They show you how to deal with frustration, discomfort, and those quiet little moments when it just feels easier to quit. They teach you how to respond to challenges without falling back into self-sabotage, how to stay present with your goals, how to take care of yourself without reaching for food or distraction as a shortcut to feeling better. But here's the thing. If you keep searching for the newest 5-day arm fix, you'll get really good at searching, but you won't get any better at the basics. And that's what builds real muscle tone. That's what reshapes your arms and your identity. Yes, the basics are simple. Yes, they're repetitive. No, they're not sexy, but they are solid. They are foundational, and they are what work. We just forget that because we've been conditioned to chase the shiny. That's why new workout plans, new supplements, and new routines feel so tempting because they're exciting. But if you want results that last, you've got to get better at boring, better at basic, better at sticking to what works, even when it doesn't feel thrilling. That's the real shift. Here's what I want you to hear loud and clear. The basics are your foundation. If you were someone who already had naturally toned arms, if you were someone who showed up, moved consistently, ate in a way that fueled strength without overthinking every bite, you'd already be living the basics. You just wouldn't be naming them. You wouldn't be obsessing over them. You just do them on autopilot. If your arms feel like they've fallen off track, if your routine has slipped, your motivation feels low, or your brain is constantly saying, we'll start fresh Monday, guess what the answer is? It's always going to be the basics. They're your reset button. They're your steady path forward. They're the structure your brain is actually craving when everything feels messy or chaotic or out of control. The basics help you answer. How do I move today? How do I fuel myself without guilt? How do I stop the spiral when my brain starts spinning at night? How do I stay present in my body instead of reaching for food or scrolling or skipping the plan? When your arms feel stuck or when your brain feels like it's sabotaging you, you don't need a new plan. You don't need to be more motivated. You don't need to hustle harder. You just need to come home to the basics. Not because they're trendy, not because they're fun, not because they work. You're not craving a new trick. You're craving trust. You're craving something steady. And that something is already here. It's just called the basics. How do you actually get out of the I already know this trap? Step one, you've got to catch yourself thinking it. Seriously, when your brain whispers, oh, yeah, I've heard this before, this is nothing new, pause and ask yourself this. If I already know this, why am I not doing it? That question is powerful, but it's also uncomfortable because it puts the focus back on you, not the plan, not the program, not your schedule, you. This isn't about blame. It's about radical honesty. Why aren't you doing what you already know works? Is it boredom? Is it doubt? Is it impatience? Once you've answered that, here's your next question. What am I actually doing? Look at your real behavior, your real habits, the choices you're making when life feels chaotic or when motivation dips. Are those choices anywhere close to the basics? Are they aligned with the strength, energy, and tone you say you want? If not, why not? This is the part most people skip. We assume we know enough, but we don't stop to see if we're actually living it. Here's the last and most important question to ask yourself. If I already know these things, how can I start doing them again? Not in a perfect, all or nothing way, not in a way that overhauls your life in one day, but in a real way, in a doable way, in a repeatable way. Because knowing doesn't change your arms, doing does. This is how you get back on track. More importantly, this is how you stay on track, not by beating yourself up, not by chasing the next trendy arm challenge, but by coming back again and again to the basics, because basics work. And that's why they're basics. If you're stuck in the habit of searching, you'll stay stuck in the habit of searching. But if you pause, if you shift the question from why am I not doing it to how can I do it, that's when you start creating real solutions. That's when you stop spinning in self-doubt and start stepping into self-trust. Here's your invitation. This week, I want you to catch yourself when you think, I already know that. Pause right there. Call it out. Then ask yourself, what do I actually know? What am I actually doing? And where's the gap between those two things? Because once you can see that gap, you can close it. But you close it one step at a time, not with a dramatic overhaul, not with a brand new plan, with one small, powerful decision that you follow through on today. Let's make it real. What is your exact next step? Maybe it's laying out your dumbbells. Maybe it's moving your workout to the top of your calendar. Maybe it's catching that, I already know this thought before it shuts you down. Whatever it is, make it tiny, make it doable, and make it yours. Because every time you practice showing up instead of searching, every time you lean into the basics instead of brushing them off, you're rewiring your brain and reshaping your arms. Stay focused and stay on the lookout for those 4 sneaky words. I already know that, because they'll keep you stuck unless you call them out and choose something better. Okay, everybody, I will see you all next week.